Good evening. Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom webinar pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N-2920, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being webcast on Comcast TV Channel 15 and live streamed on the city's YouTube channel at https://www.youtube.com/user/City of Hayward and on the city website at https://hayward.legistar.com/calendar.aspx. The mayor will call upon members of the city council, city staff, and other speakers by name and ask that they state their names before giving comments or remarks. Individuals participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. City council members and members of the public participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the raise hand feature, and the mayor will call upon them at the appropriate time. Members participating via teleconference wishing to speak should dial *9, and they will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organizations, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received by email at list-mayor-council@hayward-ca.gov, city clerk@hayward-ca.gov, or via e-comment by 3 p.m. will be distributed to the city council and staff, published on the city's meeting and agenda center under documents received after published agenda, and entered into the record. Documents received after 3 p.m. through the adjournment of the meeting will be included as part of the meeting record and published the following day. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. In order to get the full Zoom experience, please make sure your application is up to date. Public members wishing to speak with the City Council can send an email to list-mayor-council@hayward-ca.gov or cityclerk@hayward-ca.gov.
Thank you. And with that, I will call this meeting of the Hayward City Council to order. And we ask Council Member Wahab to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. All rise. The flag is behind our city clerk. I hope everyone can see that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Good evening. Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Present. I think.
Councilmember Marquez.
Is she in the attendees? Notice there's a phone number with a hand up.
That does not appear to be her phone number. I think that's for public comment.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I understand Councilmember Marquez is trying to connect, Mayor. Councilmember Salinas.
Here.
Councilmember Wahab.
Here.
Councilmember Cermeño.
I'm present.
And do we have Councilmember Marquez? I believe she has joined.
Hi, yes, I'm sorry. I'm having internet issues. So I'm going to do my best to stay on, but I'm going to keep my camera off right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Halliday.
Here.
Thank you. All 7 members present.
Great. Thank you. Well, that brings us to a special presentation we have this evening. And as most of us know, I think we are celebrating this month, Black History Month, and there's a lot going on. But for now, I am going to turn this over to Councilmember Andrews to talk a little bit about this and also read and present our proclamation declaring the month of February Black History Month in Hayward. Go ahead, Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to present this proclamation for Black History Month as we celebrate every year. And just want to also acknowledge that every year the Black History Month has a different theme, and this year it's Black Health and Wellness. And I am having the pleasure of presenting this proclamation to the NAACP and to Reverend Anthony Woods, who has been an instrumental leader in not just our Black residents here, but everyone here in Hayward. And just so everyone, just as a reminder, Black history is everyone's history. So I will be reading this proclamation to you, and thank you for all you do for Hayward. Whereas the importance of Black history in our nation's history was first honored with a week-long celebration starting in 1926 and expanded into a month-long celebration as Black History Month or African American History Month during the nation's bicentennial in 1976. And whereas Black History Month celebrates the achievements of Black Americans and pays tribute to the central role of African Americans in United States history. And whereas the Association for the Study of African American Life and History that organized the first celebration in 1926 has selected Black Health and Wellness as the theme for 2022. And whereas the City of Hayward is recognizing Black History Month with a series of events at both branches of the Hayward Public Library throughout the month, including book displays on this year's theme and a display at the Downtown Library entitled Stitching Russell City Stories, Quilts by the late Marianne Coleman, consisting of story quilts from the Hayward Historical Society's permanent collection. Now, therefore, Robert Holliday, Mayor of the City of Hayward, do hereby proclaim February 2022 as Black History Month in the City of Hayward and urge its recognition and participation and support by all residents.
And I certainly do declare that, as you said, and I have to say that I don't think there's ever been a year that we've done this where the importance of celebrating Black history in this month and really all through the year has been more clear to all of us. And I think that we intend to carry, as we always do declare this month, and we always have events going on. But I have to say, I think this year we are truly committed to, to recognizing this month for what it really is meant to be, and to carry out our commitment to not just this month, but throughout the coming year and in the years to come, to make sure that the history of African Americans in Hayward is fully understood by all of us. So, and I think that we have, as Councilmember Andrews just said, Reverend Woods here to accept this proclamation. And I don't know if you have that. We will be mailing the proclamation to the South County NAACP, but you can see it will look a little like this and have a nice green folder around it. But Reverend Woods, would you like to say a few words?
Yes. To Madam Mayor, to Councilmember Andrews, to the entire council, and to all present, we, on behalf of the Hayward South Alameda County branch of the NAACP and our branch president, Mrs. Freddie Davis, who unfortunately is not able to make it this evening, we are extremely honored and humbled to accept this proclamation from the city of Hayward and from you all. That's from our heart. You know, over the years, with the support of the city, our branch has been able to design and really operate several programs aimed at bringing resources to our most vulnerable. And the aim is to make the city of Hayward an ideal city in which to live and work, one that values strength of its diversity, it promotes equity and inclusion, and a city that eliminates barriers and, you know, really just tries to really provide equal opportunities for all. And for many of you who know the NAACP, it's been founded in 1909, and our mission since that time has been to bridge the achievement gap in education, to bridge the wage and employment gap and in promotion gap rather in employment, but also to bridge the home ownership gap in housing, and really to bridge the equity gap in criminal justice system. And the city and Mayor Halliday, the city council members, I can't name you all, but you all been out and supported our programs. We've seen you at all of our programs. And we just want to let you know that without your support, we couldn't have really done the things that we've done. We have an after-school tutorial program at Bret Harte, for example, and we are going to be branching into anger management and really de-escalation techniques with our young people. You've supported our scholarship programs, our school supply programs, our expungement programs, our COVID vaccination clinics, our post-certified law enforcement training courses. You've supported it all. And really from our hearts to you, we're humbled by this honor. And we just want to let you know from the depths of our heart that we really, really appreciate this public recognition of our work. And we look forward to many, many, many fruitful years of partnership with you all. So thank you from the depths of our heart. God bless you.
Well, thank you. And we've supported all those things because you're doing them, and we appreciate the work that you do in our community, all of you. And so we are happy to support your organization and all the good works that you have done. And again, the theme this year also is quite apt. And I know how much you have done in working, especially in the African American community, to help people stay healthy through this pandemic, and do the things they need to do to stay healthy. And so we really appreciate that effort too, and that partnership. Angela, Councilmember Andrews, would you like to say anything more?
No, thank you again for all you do. NAACP, you've been an instrumental force in our community for not just African Americans, but for everyone here in Hayward. So thank you for everything you've done.
Yes. And thank you for being here tonight to accept this. And you should be getting the actual proclamation soon at your office. Thank you.
My honor. Thank you.
And so, and I just would encourage everybody to check out the exhibits in the library, and especially those quilts, which are really wonderful things to view. I have seen some of them in past Historical Society exhibits, and they're quite great works of art, and informative too, I think. So with that, we will go to public comments this evening. And I do see a couple of hands up. So we will start with, I think it's the telephone number ending in 341.
Hello, good evening, council members and Mayor Halliday. First of all, thank you, Angela, and your council for the proclamation for Black History Month. I agree with Mayor Halliday that it is timely. I firstly wanted to ask, did everybody get my written public comment for tonight's meeting?
Yes, and I believe you are valid go, correct? You haven't said your name, but just for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. So you all got that already, right?
Your public comment.
Is that right, Mayor Halsey?
Yes,
I didn't hear you.
Yes, we did receive it. Yes, the city.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I don't have to recant that. What I did want to emphasize with the 2022 theme of Black History Month, I know you probably already have some activities planned, but I have set in on a lot of conversations so far with Russell City residents as a result of all the activity that's being planned around Q25. And I was hoping if there was some way we could work in partnership with the city of Hayward during the month of February for Black History Month to hold an open forum. And how that relates to Black health and wellness is there are a lot of feelings going around, as you can imagine. And a lot of the residents are still alive, and they're elderly now. And I'm hoping that we can see that as a living history and have an open forum and have this videotaped, because as long as this process that we are jointly engaging in is going to take, I'm sad to say that I am sure some of the members of my family and some of the other families won't be around. So I'm hoping that the city of Hayward will take this opportunity during Black History Month and looking at health and wellness to be able to give them a platform for an open forum to discuss Russell City and whatever that means to them now, looking at the opportunity to be recompensated. And that's it. And to videotape it, because that would be a living history that we may not have the opportunity to gather again.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments, and we'll ask that perhaps somebody from the city staff can get back in touch with you to discuss that further.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have Angela Johnson.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I am so sorry. This is Angela Johnson, a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And honestly, I think that I have made a mistake. I didn't actually want to make a public comment. I was actually listening in, but I was actually invited to participate. And that's really, I don't really have a major. I just want to thank you also, Mayor Halliday. I'm with Delta Sigma Theta, and I met you a long time. I've actually helped you when you were running for mayor. It's just.
I do remember meeting with you in my office, in my council office, very early on in my tenure. It's been a while, though.
It has been a while, and I'm still active in my sorority. I don't actually live in Hayward, but I still am active with my sorority in the community of Hayward. So I appreciate all the work you all are doing, especially Councilwoman Andrews. She's actually a very big supporter so far, and you all have been thus far. So I just appreciate it, and happy Black History Month to you all.
All right. Thank you for the comment. I don't see any other hands raised among attendees. Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment this evening? Madam City Clerk, are you aware of anyone trying to do that in any of the various ways that they can?
No, Madam Mayor, I'm not aware of anyone wishing to speak.
All right, then with that, I will close public comments, and we will go on to comments from our city manager, Ms. McAdoo.
Thank you, Mayor Halliday and members of the council. I just had one announcement to make today. As you know, every 2 years, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, requires all communities to conduct a point-in-time count of individuals, youth, and families who are experiencing homelessness. And this provides a snapshot of homelessness in our community and nationally, and allows us to work to apply for funding and to work with the county on other solutions. This year's homeless point-in-time count, which had been delayed because of COVID last year, will take place Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022, and we are in need of volunteers to assist with that effort. And it's a little different this year because of COVID protocols, but we will still be conducting the point-in-time count. Per the county public health rules, all volunteers must be vaccinated and also must complete a health screening questionnaire the morning of the count. You will be asked to work in teams and walk or drive an assigned route from approximately 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. And the teams will be limited to 2 to 4 people. More information can be found on our website. You can also contact Jessica Lobedon on the city staff. If you go to the city's webpage and just Google point in time count, you should be able to find that information. Ms. Lobedon's email is Jessica, JESSICA.LOBEDAN @hayward-ca.gov. So that is my only announcement today, Mayor, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, quick question.
Go ahead.
Madam City Manager, how many volunteers do we need?
I might ask Councilmember Lamnon, who's been involved in prior years. I don't know exactly how many. I mean, I want to say we'll take as many as we can, but I think, Councilmember Lamnon, did you know how many people have volunteered in prior years or how many we've needed? Because I know you've been involved.
No, I appreciate that. So I don't know every approach this year because, as you said, they're trying to not do, mass organization and then sending them out. But the goal, I believe, is still to count every it's not precinct, it's census block, every census block in Alameda County. So to quickly answer your question, Councilmember Salinas, a lot.
Okay. All right.
If people want to like volunteer together because they're part of a family pod or they've kept each other in their sort of bubble, that helps, because I think that's the group that's going to kind of move around.
Great. Thank you.
Sorry for not having that answer off the top of my head, but it is a lot of volunteers needed because it's canvassing the entire community.
All right. So if that is it for your comments,
yep.
I would like to now make a suggestion that we change the order of the agenda. And I think because Reverend Woods is with us now, and we have a referral item that is item number 3 on our agenda this evening regarding the Pan-African flag. This is a referral from Council members Andrews, Marquez, and Wahab. So if there is no objection from any member of council, I would like to move that item 3 up to take it up now before we go on to items number 1 and 2. We have a fairly short agenda this evening, but is there any objection to doing that from council? Okay, well then we will do that, and we will move right into item number 3, which is, as I said, a referral from council members Andrews, Marquez, and Wahab to actually recognize the Pan American flag and have a practice of raising it at times in the city. So, Council Member Andrews, I'll turn it over to you if you would like to elaborate any further.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We did include a referral in the packet, and the Pan-African flag is an important symbol, and it's not just a symbol. It represents Black Future Month, in my opinion. As we talk about Black history, we need to talk about symbols that represent advancement and represent unity. And the Pan-African flag was created by Marcus Garvey, and the colors represent bloodshed by Africans who died in their fight for liberation. Black represents Black people, and then green is a symbol of growth and natural fertility of Africa. And the flag actually represents not just Africa, but people who are from that have African descent. And it represents the symbol of freedom from the African diaspora, including Black people in the United States. And one of the reasons why this flag was created was that there was a song called "Every Race Has a Flag But the Coon," and it was a derogatory term used to keep us oppressed. And so the reason why I wanted to bring the flag to City Hall was actually when we held Juneteenth. One of the questions I have from one of the organizers was, where's the Pan-African flag? If we celebrate Juneteenth, we should be having this flag flown. And so in recognition of that, I feel that we should include the flag as part of Black History Month, Juneteenth, and August 17th to represent Marcus Garvey's birthday. So those are the reasons why I brought this referral today. And if other council members would like to comment, feel free. But thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to bring this tonight.
Mayor, Councilmember Marquez is on the phone now, but she can unmute herself. She's unable to, we can't promote her to panelist, but I just in case.
And she can't raise her hand then, right?
Her hand is raised, but if.
She as an attendee, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well, Councilmember Marquez, if we can get her on through the phone, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize, everyone. My internet was back on, and now it's lapsed again. So I apologize for the hiccups. I don't want to take away from the importance of this night. I just wanted to thank Councilmember Angela Andrews for being the lead on this referral. I know myself, I don't want to speak for Councilmember Wahab, but I'm really honored and excited to join her. I just want to thank her for her leadership. And if you read the memo, it's extremely informative, and I just continue to learn and grow from her leadership, her thoughtful comments, and just her willingness to broaden everyone's perspective in the city of Hayward. So I'm really happy to sign on to this referral and hope that my colleagues will join us in a unanimous vote. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. And Councilmember Wahab?
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Andrews for very much taking the lead. You know, it's hard being the first African-American woman on city council ever elected. So kudos again, obviously, always honoring wins, if you will, but also just consistently supporting a community, right? It takes a lot of effort, and you know, especially with a lot of things that are happening in the news and so forth. So I really want to commend her leadership just in general. And then as far as this referral, I generally do believe that this is going to pass unanimously. It's almost no question in my mind that this council has been trying to work very, very hard to correct a lot of wrongs. And obviously, we're not going to be able to correct all the wrongs, but making advancements. I also want to acknowledge the staff who has really, really been highlighting racial equity in a lot of the work that we're trying to do. And even callers like Ms. Veldego, who has been very, involved. And I feel like the community has also been invigorated as to, there's some positive movement happening. I don't think everyone's going to be, on the same page as what we can accomplish and what we can do as a city. But I really do appreciate the effort because, it's something that needs to happen. It's something that should have happened, and just very much honored to be a part of this referral, if you will. And I really appreciate, again, Councilmember Andrews' leadership, staff, as well as this entire council for making racial equity a priority. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And actually, I do see that we have Ms. Freddie Davis, the president of South County NAACP. If I'm reading this correctly, and she really is there, Ms. Davis, can we get her on?
I tricked you guys. It's actually her son. How you guys doing today?
I see. Hi, Todd.
She definitely wanted to make sure that I expressed her appreciation for Councilman Andrews, I said Councilperson Andrews, Councilperson Wahab, and Councilperson Marquez, as well as the entire council, and you, Mayor, for not, and it's something that Councilman Andrews had said best, for making the flag more than just a symbol, but actually turning it into substance. We in the NAACP, we've been attempting to do that for as long as the organization has been around, whether it's been through our expungement clinic, whether it's been through our feeding programs. And so we appreciate that Hayward has not only joined with us, but participated with us in this effort. I'm a head advisor for the youth and college component. And I just want to say I appreciate the city manager in particular, that when I ask her if we can have an event, she walks me through the process. As many times as I've done an event, I shouldn't need that. But I like the commitment that Hayward has to helping out groups who are underserved, and more so helping out organizations that are attempting to serve those groups. Once again, we simply want to say thank you, especially for the Pan-African flag, because we understand it represents people of the diaspora. And as the council knows, those are people who are all a part of African descent who have been spread through exploitation and torture and violence, but who are attempting to create a new home in a different place. And I would like to think that Hayward can be a beacon to the Bay Area as a whole, that if we work together as a brother and sisterhood, we can create a safe space for everyone. Thank you once again for what you've provided. And Councilman Andrews, thank you especially for bringing this to the forefront at the behest of a citizen. If anything, we understand that politicians get a bad rap, but one thing they're supposed to do is, if you would, civil servants, is serve. And we just thank you that you met us where we were at. We appreciate your efforts again. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And I'll add my thanks to the three council members who brought this forward, the South County NAACP, who does amazing work in our area. And, this is a time when we are all appreciating how important it is for us to understand what has happened in the past so we can carry forth and promote some of the good things that happened in the past, and we can also understand how we can prevent some of the not so good things that happen. And so I'm really proud of Hayward for a lot of work we're doing in this area right now. And I just again want to thank our three council members, Andrews, Wahab, and Marquez, for bringing this forward. And we will look forward to, I don't know how soon this will happen and will we have a flag this month to raise?
We can work to, our maintenance staff are very adept at getting flags from community organizations, and we'll work with Councilmember Andrews and community groups, and we'll find the flag and make sure it's the appropriate one and get it raised as soon as possible.
All right. And maybe we can, if you can let us know when you're going to do that, and those of us who can come and participate in that. So, so with that, this is a referral. I want to know if any other council members wish to, I guess we sort of opened public comment when we had Todd Davis speak. I will ask again if there are any members of the public who would like to comment on this item. If not, I'm not seeing any hands go up there. So with that, we'll bring it back to council. Any council members want to comment further who haven't? Okay, well, with that, then I would entertain a motion on this item. Councilmember Andrews?
Are you ready? Okay. I'd like to move the item.
I'll second.
Second, Councilmember Marquez.
All right, we'll have this item has been moved by Councilmember Andrews and co-seconded by Council Members Marquez and Wahab. And with that, Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
I just want to again thank Councilmember Wahab and Marquez that without hesitation, they were signers onto this referral. So thank you again. Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Lamnin.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño.
See.
Mayor Halliday.
Yes. And the motion carries with 7 aye votes. So thank you, everyone. And we will be flying the Pan-African flag and learning a lot more about its origins. And again, I'll recommend that everybody check out some of the exhibits that we have in both of our libraries this month. So with that, now we're going to move back to item number 1. Our consent calendar this evening actually only consists of one item, and that is adoption of a resolution declaring specified city-owned properties associated with the former 238 bypass project exempt surplus lands, and declaring parcel group 4 as surplus lands pursuant to Government Code section 54221. Do I have, are there any, with one item, I'll ask if there's anyone who would like to, from council, who would like to comment or, pull this item off in any way. Okay. Is there anyone from the public? I'm going to open public comment and ask if there's anyone in the public who would like to comment on this item. And seeing no hands going up there, I'll go back to council and entertain a motion.
So moved.
Madam Mayor.
Okay, I heard a motion from Councilmember Salinas and probably
second.
And a second from Councilmember Cermeño. Any discussion? Seeing no hands going up. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Aye.
Mayor Halliday.
Yes. And the motion carries with 7 aye votes. Thank you. And now we will move on to item number 2, our public hearing item this evening. and that is regarding the Andina for Affordable Housing Project. This is a TAFRA hearing to carry out a legal requirement that the city of Hayward find that that this project is an appropriate use of certain revenue bonds. I think I will now turn it over to Finance Director Clausen to more clearly explain what a TAFRA hearing is and what we're doing here this evening. But go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the time this evening. As you mentioned here, I've got a short presentation. I will share my screen here and take it away. So as you mentioned, we're here to discuss the Andina Affordable Housing Project and a TEFRA hearing. The TEFRA hearing is it relates to an IRS code that was formed in 1986 to ensure that there was equity and fiscal responsibility and making sure that it's really transparent for folks to see what's going on. They allow for certain organizations to issue tax-exempt bonds and use the tax-exempt status of the city when the bonds are used to fund specific public benefit, projects with public benefit. These bonds are not liability of the city. There's a proposal to put bonds of up to 45 million out to market. But again, these bonds will have no liability for the city in any way, shape, or form. The project that we're talking about will convert the property from a market rate to mixed income housing, with 55% of the units reserved for low income and 20% restricted for very low income. The other units will be subject to the residential rental rate stabilization ordinance for the city, and any increases will be limited in accordance with the ordinance. I know our housing manager worked diligently to try to make sure that we got everything in to protect those that are currently living at the property, to just minimize displacement and impact on the current residents. We believe that the developer and the issuer have done everything that we've asked. Been good partners here and worked very hard together with us. So that we think that we've come up with a solution to try to make sure that folks that are there now are taken care of and not displaced. That's really kind of the bulk of, or the majority of my presentation. I have with us tonight someone from the issuer as well as someone from the developer. So if you got any questions specific about the bonds or the financing or the project, they are certainly here and are much more expert in the project than I am. I believe we've also got the folks on our. Okay, sorry, my screen just kind of flashed. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry. Okay. And so we can answer any questions that you might have and ask that council adopt a resolution allowing these bonds to be issued.
Okay. Are there any questions from council? Not seeing any hands up. I actually, is our housing manager? Yes, she is. I have a question about, in the staff report, it was said that remodeling of the units will not, of the interior units, will not impact tenants because it will take place when units turn over. And I'm just a little curious about exactly how that happens if people don't want to move out of their, aren't planning to move out and are staying there. I mean, there's got to be some kind of time limit on when the work gets done. Can you elaborate on that a little more, Ms. Morales?
It's my understanding, and the developer can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that they're keeping the funds in reserve so they can wait. And as the tenants naturally leave, they choose to leave, they can then do those upgrades before they release the unit.
All right. So it is planned to be done over a relatively long period of time. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Council member
Cermeño.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. Council member Cermeño.
Dustin, thank you very much for the report. Should I worry, Dustin, about displacement and relocation when these units are being remodeled as we have experienced in the past?
Great question. I think that Ms. Morales has worked incredibly hard with the developer to ensure that would be minimized, if at all. Certainly, the conversation was had and the fears have been quelled. So I don't think it's something that we necessarily need to worry too much about. Certainly, Ms. Morales may be able to speak further on that, and we've got the developer on as well. So if there are, if there's more questions or concerns,
every one of these places we've gone through these things, and I just rather we not repeat it. Ms. Morales, can you add something so that I can sleep tonight a little better?
Yes. So we looked into this, because of previous concerns. And one, in terms of the scope of the rehabilitation, the property is in relatively good condition. They'll be doing some work that's on the common areas, and when they do work, it will only be once the unit has been vacated. So instead of a large construction project where all of the units are impacted at once, it seems to be very strategic in terms of who's going to be impacted. In regards to displacement, the changes to the residential rent stabilization ordinance and our eviction for cause protections no longer has any kind of exemption for these types of conversion projects. So any tenant that currently lives there could not be displaced if they're not income eligible. And lastly, the project does retain about 25% of the units, which I think was the equivalent of 22 units, has no income restriction. So the project can accommodate people who exceed the income limits. So we're not actually anticipating displacement from this project. Additionally, we notified the tenants about this TEFRA hearing tonight. We sent them a letter last week to give tenants the opportunity to be more involved in the process and to understand what's going on and to raise any concerns. We did receive a call from one of the tenants today where they were more interested in whether they would be eligible for the affordable units on site. So that was encouraging that there might be interest in staying there in one of the affordable units.
Thank you. My follow-up question is the developer going to be encouraging the present tenants to move out by increasing their rents by more than 5 or 10%, let's say?
No, so that was another thing we discussed with the developer. So all of we have worked with them to include in their regulatory agreement a restriction on rent increases. So no rent increase can exceed, even with the rent restricted units, can exceed 5%, consistent with the residential rent stabilization ordinance. So we made it clear that we didn't want the transition of this property to affordable housing to undercut our residential rent stabilization ordinance. And they have already updated their regulatory agreement to verify that this is a term that they will comply with.
And we can hold them to this. And what happens if they don't comply? What happens if the developer starts doing things as other developers have done? What's our recourse to have them stop?
I may enlist the help of the city attorney's office if they have any suggestions on the recourse that the city might have.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
Well, we have a developer who has promised us that they will not be encouraging people to relocate and that they will be no one will be displaced and relocated. What guarantee or what can we do? What could we do in case the developer breaks these ground rules? What's our recourse? Or we just let it go?
Yeah, Christina, I'm not familiar. Are there development agreements in place that would, there are development agreements in place that place contractual obligations on the developer, correct?
There are, but they're with the, I think it's the bond issuer.
And I guess one of the questions is if they, for example, like they try to raise the rent above 5% or, violate the rent stabilization ordinance, what are the penalties in our rent stabilization ordinance? I think that might be another question. Might be for
That's good.
Because we do have penalties in there, correct?
Well, there is, the market rate units, which are 22 units, would be subject to the residential rent stabilization ordinance. And that includes the rent increase limitations. And so those tenants would be able to submit a petition to our office to contest the rent increase. The units that are restricted by a regulatory agreement, those would be exempt from the rent increase limitations, but still subject to eviction for cause and harassment protections. So for the eviction for cause protections, they would be able to use that as a defense for eviction. But in terms of rent increase, if they do get a rent increase that's above 5%, I think our only recourse would be to discuss the terms of our agreement with them and hope that as a partner, a good faith partner, they would comply with what we've discussed.
And if not, we'll take them to court. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, everybody else.
Okay, anyone else have comments on this? I'm going to open public comment. Any member of the public wish to speak on this item? I'm not seeing any hands. Madam City Clerk.
Mayor Halliday, I'm not aware of any requests to speak.
Okay, then I'll close public comment. Entertain a motion from council. Councilmember Lamnan.
I'm happy to move the item, and I really wanted to appreciate city staff's work to address so many of the things that I think my colleague was raising and that we on council have seen. And so I was really pleased as I was reading this staff report of, okay, what about this thing that we've had in the past? Oh, nope, they already dealt with that. What about this thing? Nope, they've already dealt with it. And so I really appreciate the thoughtfulness and community representation your community needs representation that was included in this report. So thank you for that.
Second.
All right. So a motion has been made to support the staff recommendation by Councilmember Lamnan and seconded by Councilmember Zermano. I will just add too that I appreciate we learn from experience, and I think there has been a lot of care taken with this one because we have had issues in the past, and I too felt in reading the staff report, other than that one thing about the work not being done in a unit until someone moves out, that does raise a little bit of a red flag. But I do think the staff has looked at that and feel assured that this work can go on over a long period of time should someone choose not to move out. I mean, I'm wondering if they would be able to have work done in their unit to bring it up to standards without moving out too. I mean, perhaps if the tenant wanted that to happen, but I think that's actually beyond the purview of the council. But I do understand the concerns because of things that we have experienced with other projects in the past that have gotten financing in this manner that does require an approval by the city for them to go forward with these bonds. So with that, on the motion by Councilmember Lamnan, seconded by Councilmember Zermano, Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnan.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Aye.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes, and thank you to the staff.
Thank you. Councilmember Zermano.
A very hopeful yes.
Thank you. Mayor Holliday.
Yes. And the motion carries with 7 aye votes and no one opposed. So with that, we are moving right along here this evening, unlike our usual pattern, but that's good. And we have come to council reports and announcements. Anyone have any this evening? I see no hands going up. So, and we have.
Wait, I do have one, Mayor.
Oh, Councilmember Andrews, thank you.
I just wanted to get the dates right, but the Hayward Area Historical Society, Hayward Library, and Hayward Arts Council, they actually will be having a Black History and Wellness yesterday, today, and tomorrow event on February 27th from 3 to 5 on Zoom. And it will be in partnership with the Palmacia Women's Ministry and Eden Rose Links. And the panelists will include myself, the African American Wellness Project's Michael Lenore, and Fremont City Council member Teresa Cox. So, and it might be a few others, but that will be happening on February 27th.
Great, thank you for that information. Councilmember Zermania?
Just a quick note that I heard that finally our Kennedy Park should be open next month.
Ah.
They had troubles with the train tracks. They needed to be replaced, and that's the reason for a delay.
Yes, following the pattern of the overall community that sometimes has trouble with train tracks, even at Kennedy Park with the nice little miniature railroad that has always been one of my favorite parts of that park.
That's good news.
And I need little kids to, in my family, all the kids have grown up and I don't have any little kids to take on it anymore. But in any event, yes, that is good news indeed. Do you know when?
Mid-March.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Mayor, if I could please speak. Sorry.
Go ahead. Speak up. Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you. We're still on the phone. I won't say with who, but the issue's not resolved. So I just wanted to give a friendly suggestion if I can. I really appreciated Ms. Valdego's comments and her recommendation. And I was hoping maybe someone through the library can connect with her, because I know at one point we were doing oral history recordings, because I agree it's very important to capture that history. And please take my comments as being helpful, not trying to minimize or dismiss your suggestion. I just want the public to understand that any event any one of us put on or lead takes months to plan, to coordinate. If we want to do something thoughtful, it takes a lot of energy and capacity. So I appreciate her recommendation, but just in order for us to actually get to some of her requests, I'm hoping that someone from the library or the Historical Society can partner to make that oral history actually take place sooner rather than later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's a good suggestion. And I hope the city manager will be able to follow up on that. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Right. Seeing no hands going up. We did call this meeting, especially it's a second Tuesday, and this is therefore a special meeting, but we had some time sensitive things here. So we, anyway, we have had a short meeting this evening, but we have come to the end of our regular business. And with that, until next week, February 15th at 7 p.m., we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Night.